Hi Aquarius, welcome to Yellow Card No Tarot with me. My name is Carole and this is going to be a general reading for you for February 2026. And if you're coming back to my channel, I want to thank you for supporting me and hopefully you've subscribed so that my readings can get out to more people. And if you are coming here as a new person, new to my channel, I encourage you to also subscribe, but as well, let me know below. I like to hear when people have found me. It's like, I just found your channel. That excites me a lot because then I know my readings are actually getting out there. Sometimes with the YouTube algorithm, it's hard to know. So let's get into this reading for this month, February. Before I decided on my readings, I usually like to hum and haw about it for about a week before I want to do it. And sometimes that's why it takes me time to get on here. And so the word authenticity came up for me. And it was like, okay, this is about authenticity. This is about getting clarity. This is about getting back to your truth and being really honest with who you are. And that means sometimes we have to get uncomfortable. And I thought of the one card that represents authenticity for me in this deck is the single sword, and that can be carried by the court cards as well. And the single sword for me represents that sword that's going to cut through the bullshit. It's going to cut through all those belief systems, conditionings that you've had when you were younger, that you continue to believe, that you've probably led all your life thinking you were a certain way or thinking you were a certain person, and you started and you believed you were this person and you had lived that. You know, we put on these masks and we think that's really who we're supposed to be because we're told that when we're younger, right? That we can't do this or we can't do that, but you need to do this. And so it really becomes confused. And so authenticity for us is something that, you know, we all need to get back to. And we get back to that by peeling away layers sometimes of trauma, memories, of big emotions. And so it's time now that you really start to live and speak from what the real you is and not what you were taught, you know, not how you were taught to be. And so this is our sort of overriding theme here. And then I also, I picked out 2 oracle cards for you, and from the Shaman's Dream and also from the Return of Spirit. And these 2 cards really complement each other, I find. You're going to hear me talk a little bit about shamanism, and I'll try to bring that into my reading sometimes because I'm a shamanic practitioner as well. And so I do offer distance healing. And before I do that, I like to have a free 15-minute consultation with anybody that is interested in shamanism or shamanic healing, and they have some questions about it. Because it is really a powerful way of healing you spiritually. So if you are interested in that, the link is below for a 15-minute consultation for people that are new. Also, I do personal tarot readings, and the link again is in my description box if you're interested in that. And it's also in my comment section. And so let's get started with this reading. And this reading is called Coming Back to Your Truth. And it's about what illusions or false beliefs you have that you're still holding on to that need to be released. Now, in order to release these, we need to do a little bit of shadow work. So we need to go into your childhood and your adolescence and really see, you know, where is it that you started to take on these beliefs. So there's some healing that needs to be done in order for you to release this. And so we're going to look at what healing needs to be done in order to let this go. And that's going to be in part 2. And then part 3, we're going to look at what does the tarot suggest for you. How do you start reconnecting with yourself? Remember, this healing journey, it's a process. It's not something that's going to come like this. I'm not going to give you a magic pill here, and neither will a tarot. But definitely will give you a good place to start. And I'll also suggest a video or a playlist for you at the end from my other channel, YouTube channel called Carole Cares. And there's some good videos that I made, and depending on what I think you need, what will help you with where you need to go with this. So let's begin with your 2 oracle cards I pulled out for you, Aquarius. And the first one from the Shaman's Dream is called Feast of Plenty, Choices and Their Consequences. So I think the most important thing here, well, is that there's a feast here for you. And there's a feast laid out for you. So I think right now you, Aquarius, are being faced with a lot of options right now. It's like the universe says, here you go. This is what you're capable of. This is what you can do, because you know that you are a very original, kind of inventive person. So I think you're always kind of trying to reinvent yourself, thinking of a lot of ideas, different ideas. And definitely want a lot of freedom as well to do these. And so all of these things are presented to you. You have a lot right now. And this card kind of says, okay, which one of these is going to satisfy your hunger? And the most important thing, I think, is, you know, besides this feast being presented to you, it's like, don't sit here and take the time to try to figure out, you know, which one is the best one, which one, I don't know, and, you know, go back and forth, because that causes a lot of doubts in you. It's like, just choose something. And when you find that this isn't working or it's not good for you, then you let it go. But you have to realize that you can't go back to the things that you have avoided. So if something doesn't feel right, don't choose it again, because oftentimes we can do that, and that's our patterns where we go back to something. So it's really important to you just to choose, and this is a time of experiencing whether or not whatever you choose is meant for you. And because the next thing that comes out, the next card is a beautiful card, and it's called Confidence, right? So I think oftentimes we can all get into this where we lack confidence and we doubt ourselves. But I think you're not aware, Aquarius, of how great you are. And I know I've had a reading about this in the past where it's like, you don't realize how great you are. And I probably pulled this card for you before. And maybe again, you're doubting yourself. Maybe you feel like you're not worthy of what's coming up for you here. But you're being asked, you know, to fake it until you make it. And what you are meant to bring to this world is very important. And so this is, we're going to see here what's going on. So what illusion or false belief, we're going to start with the reading now. So the reading is called Coming Back to Your Truth. And I'm going to be using the Ehrenberg Tarot as well as the AE weight. So the Tarot of AE weight to clarify. And so we're going to start off with, what illusion or false belief, could be plural too, illusions or false beliefs, are you holding on to right now that need to be released? So one card for that. One card for illusions or beliefs that Aquarius is holding on to that needs to be released this month. Deck's just warming up. I just pulled it out. Oh, here we go. Oh, 2 cards. So you have the Knight of Swords and the 10 of Cups in reverse. Interesting cards right here for you. I actually don't. I look at them, and until I actually start reading from them, that's when it all comes out, what the meanings of them are. I'm intrigued by these 2 together. But I know it'll come out. What in you needs healing in order to let this go? One card here. Sometimes it's very clear to me. Oh, I think I know what that means. Okay. All right. You have the Justice card in reverse. Definitely another card that's very often associated with authenticity as well. But I thought the Ace of Swords is more pure, just that's the sword that's going to cut through the bullshit. What does the tarot suggest for reconnecting with yourself? Okay, so got this one, and then it was like, no, this one's coming out for you. That's interesting. Okay, so you have the Page of Wands, and then you have the Lover's card. That card, it's in reverse, has not come out in a while, the Lover's card. All right, so I'm going to ask for some clarity on this Knight of Swords and Ten of Cups. Probably just one card here. We're going to need one card. Okay. The High Priestess in reverse. Justice card. Couple cards here to tell me more about this Justice in reverse. And one more. Here we go. Two of Wands in reverse and the Five of Swords. Here's the swords coming out here. Definitely explains your, has something to do with your worthiness when you're younger for sure. Feeling worthy, and I did talk about that with the confidence. Page of Wands, and oh man, that was like, okay, these are, oh, that's a lot. Okay, this one, then this one. Wow, we've got a story here for you, Aquarius. You have the Three of Wands, the King of Swords, the Emperor in reverse, and the Eight of Pentacles. Woo! I couldn't choose which one, and I think I was meant to have them all. And this deck does not usually spit out four like that. Okay, so what illusions or false beliefs do you have about yourself? We started off with the Knight of Swords, and then the Ten of Cups is very important that it's in reverse. And so this is you right now. So I think the illusion that you have about yourself, or the belief system, is the Knight of Swords. I mean, look at this individual. Oh, I love this, looking through that. I guess that's his armor, isn't it? And he's looking through it, and his eyes are just piercing. And almost as if that he sees what's going on. And it's almost like he's not able to do anything about it. But he sees. He's not stupid. He sees what's going on. Very intelligent here. But, and I think there's a lot of, anger that's building up inside of him. Because I see these eyes and they're just like, ooh. Because the knights in my deck are like these, I call them my freedom fighters. They're the ones that don't want to be, it's an adolescent part of you. We all have this, that we do not want anybody to tell us what to do. We don't want to be controlled. And that's so Aquarian. It's like you want your freedom. And so as an Aquarian, we're always fighting for control versus freedom, right? And I think this is the situation here when you were younger, is that I know I'm not talking about when you were younger, but when you were younger, you could have been an adolescent that wanted to do certain things and you weren't allowed to do it. And so I think here there's some, what's coming up for me here is that you're trying to get back to your truth. You're trying to get back to who you really are. But I think there's some real anger, maybe ungrounded anger that needs to come out here at maybe people that didn't believe you when you were younger, or didn't allow you to, do certain things, because behind it is the Ten of Cups that is in reverse. And I love this card where it's got this baby holding on to, very young child holding on to this adult's hand, and a beautiful rainbow in the background for the Ten of Cups. When you were born, you were born a human, so you had all these emotions. You had access to all your emotion. And I don't think you had support when you were younger, actually, because here you go where, you have the Ten of Cups in reverse, and I think there's a part of you that was not allowed to feel anger. And a lot of us are in this situation where we had a lot of anger that we built up when we were younger, because we weren't allowed to be our true self. We weren't allowed to be free. And I think we felt controlled. And so this is a situation here where you've been holding on to some real emotions that need to be released. There's some anger, maybe some grief too, because when we express our anger, there's going to be some real grief that's sitting there behind that. And the High Priestess comes in here. And she's really important because your oracle cards talked about how you have this feast, these so many things, so many options here for you right now. And it's very important that you start to become aware of which ones, which ones you're supposed to choose, which ones you're not supposed to choose. But it's really important for you to get a real sharpness around that and confidence. And so she's kicking in here. And who is she? Well, the High Priestess is the first half of the feminine archetype in the major arcana. So it's a powerful card. And she represents these things that are hidden behind that veil, these things that are hidden from us. But it's not that they're hidden from us. It's just that we don't have access to them sometimes because we forget that we have this. She represents our intuition. And so it's really important that you get in touch with your intuition, your inner guidance, your inner knowing, because our intuition doesn't come from this person up here, our mind. That's our ego self. Our true self is being in touch with our intuition. And that's where once we're in touch with that, that's where we can know, we can make these decisions like, no, I know that that's not right for me. Yeah, that's where I'm meant to go. That's your intuition, that gut feeling. But right now it's in reverse. Why is it in reverse? Well, I think there's some anger here that you need to get to that's kind of clouding everything. And if we're not in our body, we can't get in touch with our intuition. And so I think it's time for you to get in touch with your anger, but you got to be in your body. And then that's going to unblock your intuition. Because when we are in our heads, when we've got these doubts and this unworthiness that's coming up right now in our head, and lacking confidence in us to do this, and and if we're not in our bodies and not in touch with those emotions and allowing them and expressing that anger, clearing all this junk out of us, and now that's when we're going to get in touch with our intuition that's blocked right now. And so what's going on here? I want to look at, what is it that needs healing for you to maybe, where are these doubts coming from? Where is this ungrounded anger coming from? What emotions are showing up for you? And why did the confidence card come out for you? Why are you feeling that, you're just not confident enough yet? Because this reading is wanting you to get to, that real sense of confidence, and because there's something here that you are meant to, that's very important, that you're meant to bring out into the world. But the universe is trying to prepare you right now. So what needs healing? You start off with the Justice card, and it's in reverse. And the Justice card talks about bringing justice to something, right? Bringing things into balance, getting in touch with who you really are. And this is a major arcana card, so this is a big force here. I think when you were younger, because of maybe things that happened to you, maybe some trauma that took place, or the way that you were conditioned, I think that there's a real need for you. And when you were younger, you probably, because you were very, I think you were somebody that was very much wanted truth, And I think you saw, if I think of this individual right here, this Knight of Swords right here, I picture those eyes with all the time, with those piercing eyes. It's like you knew when you were younger that maybe there was not something right in your situation when you were raised, the way you were raised. And so there's some real justice that needs here to happen, because what happened here? What went on with you when you were younger? Well, the Two of Wands comes out, and definitely when you were younger, You were meant to go in a certain direction. I mean, we all were. When we were 4, 5, 6 years old, we knew what we were supposed to do. Maybe you knew, but you didn't know. But there was definitely a direction here for you. I look at this card and I see him as, he's holding that world in his hand. It's like you knew there was something out there for you, but this got denied. This was denied. You were sent on a different path, maybe, and I think because of that, maybe there was something you wanted to do when you were younger that came out and it was discouraged. You were discouraged from doing it. Something happened to you because this 5 of Swords comes out. And I always see this card. I call it my bullying card. And so I'm wondering if there's some memories here around what happened to you when you expressed what you wanted to do, or were you told certain things, you can't do this, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, right? And this card, I see this person in the background right here. He's the one that's holding on to his face, right? He's the one that just lost this battle. And he's full of shame. He's full of unworthiness. Do you see all this water in the background? That's the emotions. Those are these emotions of like anger that you're holding on to. When you get shamed when you're younger, like being told that you can't do this. You're not allowed to do this. You're not smart enough. We don't have enough money. Other people can do this, but you can't do that. It's like, that's what brings on the unworthiness, and that's the shame card. That's the stuff that's handed down to us. And oftentimes we can pick up things like fear as well. We can sense it in the people that are raising us. If their fear of you being, bigger than them, maybe, things like that come into play here when we're younger. And so there's a lot of emotions, maybe emotions of fear, unworthiness, that still need to come out here. Anger, and then grief. So a lot of that still needs to come out, because when you start to heal this, especially this feeling of shame, like I'm unworthy, I can't do this, I'm not allowed, why me? Who am I? And oftentimes that is a big message from some people that have raised us when we were younger. Who do you think you are? Maybe you heard that when you were younger. Who do you think you are doing this? Those are important writing prompts that I use when I journal. Who do you think you are? Because those are things we heard when you were younger, and that makes you feel so unworthy. And so what does the tarot suggest for you to start to reconnect to your true self? Well, this is where the story comes in here. And so you have the Page of Wands, which is an inner child that needs healing. Because the wand, like I said, well, I did say a bit of it here with the Two of Wands, but the wand is our purpose, our true purpose, where we're meant to go. This is that little part of you. And I did say that there's a part of you that knew when you were 4, 5, 6 years old. This is what the page is. It's an inner child. They knew who they were. They knew what direction they were meant to go in. You see this? See those eyes here? Here's the child's eyes, and there's your adult's eyes. You have both of these staring out there, knowing your truth, knowing your true self, knowing which direction you were meant to go in, but you weren't allowed. And so there's all these feelings of shame, like I said, and anger that will come out, and grief that you've been holding on to for so long. And behind it is the Lover's card, this little part of you, this inner child that needs healing because they weren't allowed to go in that direction. Well, the Lover's card speaks about a real intimate relationship between two people, but this isn't between two people, the Lover's card. I look at that as the joining of the feminine, the masculine part of you. Those two, that is really the big goal of the Fool's Journey, is to bring those two into balance, that part of us that's the masculine side and the feminine side, right? And the feminine side, it has nothing to do with gender, but the feminine side speaks about our creativity, our purpose, our authenticity. And right now it's in reverse here, because I think that when you start to get in touch with and heal that little part of you that wasn't allowed to be the person they were meant to be. That's going to bring you into balance. That's going to bring your feminine side into balance, that side of you that is creative, that is authentic, that person, that side of you that's meant to come out now. But you're going to bring that through getting in touch with the feminine part of you, which is our emotional side, that has a lot of emotions here to bring out, because this is what the universe wants for you. Once you start to feel those emotions that I've mentioned too many times now, there's a new direction for you. And it's fascinating that here's your inner child here's your childhood or your adolescence, and that was the card that we pulled out, was the Two of Wands, where I said you weren't allowed to go in that direction. Well, you know that direction that you weren't allowed to go to, here it is. It's Three of Wands. It's going to come out now. You're going to be able to go in that direction now, right? And that's how close you are to this. And it's no surprise that we're talking about this feast of plenty, and you have all these options out here, and you know, trying to boost your confidence for you, because there is that direction now. You're going to be able to go in that direction. And the King of Swords, here's that. You have two, I need to talk about these two powerful cards that come out here. So you have 4 cards here as clarifiers. Your next one is the Eight of Pentacles. But these 2 cards in the middle are very important, because I talked about the feminine side, the creativity, the authenticity. And now you've got, that's going to kind of bring everything into balance, is you've got these 2 masculine cards. This again, it's not gender, but you've got these 2 powerful masculine cards. The first one is your King of Swords, and that's your ego self. King is your ego self. He's got that sort of authenticity in his hand. The ego self wants nothing to do with authenticity. And so he's going to keep coming out. He's going to keep on trying to get you back to those masks that you've been putting on all your life, right? Don't you dare go towards your authenticity. Don't you dare take out these emotions. Don't get into your body. Stay up in your head. It's going to keep on putting these doubts in your head, because it wants status quo. It's a very protective part. It was there for us when we were younger, but now we're adults, and we got to let that ego self know that it needs to step aside. It's not going to go away, but it needs to step aside, because your true self is stepping out now. And then you've got this Emperor card here, right? This Emperor card is the card, he's a major arcana. He's a big force here. And that's the card that comes out when it says you need to look at what are those belief systems that you've been told all your life. And in particular, the Emperor is the one that rules. He talks about the rules of society and all those societal things that, you know, we followed when we were younger. But it's in reverse here, because you know what? It's time now to put those to sleep. They're not you anymore. Like, you know, I said that you were very much a very original son. You know, you're full of ideas, and you're very unconventional. You're very much against the norm. And this is the card where it comes out and it says, no, I don't care what I've been taught when I was younger. I don't care what society says about this anymore. This is me, and I'm coming out. I got the confidence now. And because, you know, the universe is saying, hey, you've got something to bring to this world right now, and it's going to require you to be that confident person to bring this out. And then this final card here, this Eight of Pentacles. This talks about usually like a person that's very passionate about their job. And I think there's a promise here, which is fascinating. You've got this new direction, and then you got these 2 cards in between, these 2 masculine and energy that are going to try to bring you back down to where you were. Remember when at the beginning, I talked about the Feast of Plenty, where you're going to come out and, you know, you're going to learn, you know, don't go back to those things that you know you have to avoid. You've learned they're bad things for you. Don't go back there, because there's a new direction. And it's going to be something that's going to bring you some real passion. Maybe it's a new job. Maybe it's definitely a new direction, but it's going to be full of passion, right? Something that you were meant to do. something that you're really meant to do. It's going to give you a lot of joy, I think, too. That's what comes with the passion. And so this is a powerful, beautiful reading for you, Aquarius. Very deep. And I think some of you will definitely relate to this. And so I'm going to leave for you something on shame. I want to leave a shame playlist for you because that's the unworthiness that needs to come out. And I know there's some anger here that you might have as well. And so I want you to have compassion for yourself, for what you're working through this month, Aquarius. I know that this is a very difficult journey, but it's the most important journey of your life. So take care, and I'll talk soon. Bye.